Damini, are more people joining? As of now, 2-3 मिनट में और किसी ने ज्वाइन करा नहीं है.
दिव्या?
Damini?
Yeah.
हाँ मैं कह रही थी how many more people are going to join?
See, we do have few students need to be joined. We shall start the session at 8:10 if we let's
ठीक
wait
है.
for 2 to 3 minutes more.
ठीक है perfect. Okay, guys, so let's begin. No, Sahil, we were actually waiting for everybody to join. That's why we've just started. So, guys, last class we spoke about the turnover ratios and the liquidity ratios. I will be starting from the liquidity ratios again because I got the feedback that I went a little fast during liquidity ratios. So, we'll begin from there again today. Under the turnover ratios, if you all remember that we talked about the fixed assets turnover ratio, the debtor turnover ratio, the creditor turnover ratio, and the inventory turnover ratio. Basically, we talked about how efficiently a company is producing sales with its fixed or long-term assets under the fixed assets turnover ratio, wherein the formula was sales divided by fixed assets. We also did an example of Facebook, LinkedIn, and Walmart, wherein we calculated the fixed assets turnover ratio for the three companies. Then we spoke about the debtor turnover ratio, wherein we talked about the fact that it is also known as the receivables turnover ratio. We calculated by dividing sales with average debtors. Then we also talked about the fact that higher debtor turnover ratio is always better because it means that we are collecting cash sooner in comparison to a company which has a lower debtor turnover ratio. Then we spoke about the creditor turnover ratio, wherein we related the net credit purchases to the average creditors. Then we went on to calculating the inventory turnover ratio, wherein we spoke about how we understand how much money is tied up in inventory through this ratio. Post which we discussed about the inventory conversion period, wherein we talked about the fact that it is actually the time which is taken to convert the raw material into sale, which is known as the inventory conversion period. And obviously, since this is the period in which material gets converted into sale by any company, we would want a shorter or a lesser inventory conversion period, because that means that there is lesser risk of overstocking inventory and lesser storage costs, etc. Then we talked about data collection period, which obviously I do not need to explain that a reduced data collection period is always better, because it shows that we're collecting cash from our debtors sooner. Then we talked about the creditor payment period, wherein we spoke about the credit period which is enjoyed by the firm while paying its creditors. Then we spoke about the cash cycle, which was nothing but inventory conversion period plus debtor collection period minus creditor payment period. So this is a small recap of the turnover ratios that we did last class. I'm going to start with the liquidity ratios. Can you all hear me? Because Akanksha is saying that she can't hear me. Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Akanksha, can you hear me? Because I think everybody else can. Akanksha, you may want to check with your laptop audio, because everybody else can hear me, I think. Can you hear me now? Akanksha, are you there? Guys, I hope you can see the screen wherein I'm presenting the liquidity ratios. So like last class, I talked about the fact that liquidity as a term measures your short-term, your ability to meet your short-term obligations. When we talk about solvency, we talk about your long-term obligations. When we talk about your liquidity, we talk about your short-term obligations. That is the primary difference between these two ratios. When we talk about short-term obligations, we obviously talk about our current and our short-term liabilities. When we talk about solvency ratios, we naturally speak about your long-term obligations, whether it's your long-term loans, your debentures, etc. All right. So when we speak about liquidity ratios, especially in the current times when there is such a huge money crunch, so any company, even though it might, for example, there are so many startups who have shut down. Why? Because of liquidity crunches, because they are unable to meet their short-term obligations. Only forget that they'll be able to meet its long-term obligations. So
Hello.
I tried. Who's this?
Yeah, hi, Divya, this is Bhavesh.
Yeah, tell me, Bhavesh.
So, have we just started with the session?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I just joined in. So, before I start with this session, I just wanted to say and apologize to you for the last class, whatever happened. So, I personally think that the class was going very good. It was maybe just out of aggression, just because of Marticus or somebody else's fault, it came down to you. So, I'm sorry for that. I hope you don't
That's
mind
all
that.
right, Bhavesh. I hope by the end of the ratio session, you were able to understand what I wanted to teach you. And if you don't, then I suggest you stop me there and then, rather than giving feedback towards the end, because I want you to understand that feedbacks are 360-degree. It is not only what you think of me, it is also what the trainer, not me actually, a trainer, XYZ person. It's also about what the trainer thinks about their students. And I have no prejudice against anybody. You all are the same for me. But of course, if I'm explaining a concept, I would love it if you stop me there, because it's easier for me to go in depth in that particular topic while I'm speaking about it than at the end of the class. I get to hear that. In the last class, I asked you about the current ratio. It's absolutely fine if you did not get it. Trust me, when I was studying, I made a million mistakes as well. But the idea is, please stop me at that point where you get confused or where you don't know anything. That is exactly why I'm here for. I have no personal complaints with you. I hope by the end of this session, you're able to understand whatever I wanted to teach you.
Sure.
So we've just started the session about 7 to 8 minutes back. I had given a recap of the turnover ratios. After which I've just started with liquidity ratios because I was a little fast, I think, in the last class. So I'll be again explaining the whole current ratio and everything again. So we'll also do a few examples of each ratio so that you're able to understand. Okay.
Sure.
So guys, I was talking about the
Thank you.
liquidity ratios wherein no problem. So we were talking about the liquidity ratios wherein we talked about a company's ability to meet its short-term obligations. Like I discussed last class, I want you guys to understand the difference between a current liability and a long-term liability. So when I talk about, sundry creditors, or when I talk about accounts payable, when I talk about these short-term creditors, they are those creditors which the firm is due to pay within a period of 12 months. So within a period of 12 months is considered to be short-term and current, which is why they are known as current or your short-term obligations. So, when there is a money crunch, especially like, in the current scenario, so many startups are facing tremendous, issues. For example, there are companies like OYO, you must have heard of companies like Uber who fired so many employees. So it is a very difficult and challenging time going on for everyone. Primary reason being a liquidity crunch. All right. So a company which is unable to meet its short-term obligations is said to be a company which has a deteriorating liquidity position. How do you judge the liquidity position of a company is with the help of liquidity ratios, wherein we talk about your current ratio, your quick ratio, and your cash ratio. Guys, wherever you want to write down formulas and you want to stop me, just do that. And I hope the screen is visible. So when we talk about the current ratio, we actually want to understand that does a company have enough current assets to cover for your current liabilities? एक लेमैन के टर्म में मैंने आपको लास्ट क्लास में समझाया था कि एज एन इंडिविजुअल अगर मुझे कल कोई लोन लेने जाना है, so most primary reasons anyone to take a loan are either, you take a housing loan or you take a car loan or you take a loan for personal, for higher education. So you have big reasons to take a loan, right? No sensible person goes and takes a loan to pay your electricity bill or to, pay your regular day-to-day bills that you incur. So what you need to understand is that just like as a prudent individual, you would want to meet your short-term daily obligations through your current income. Likewise, through the current ratio, we want to understand that does a firm have enough current assets that can meet its current liabilities. मतलब कि एक फर्म को अपने assets, fixed assets तो नहीं बेचने पड़ रहे, अपनी current मतलब अपनी short term liabilities को meet करने के लिए, या फिर एक कंपनी को लोन तो नहीं लेना पड़ रहा अपनी current liabilities को meet करने के लिए. All right. So naturally, higher the ratio, the better it is. क्योंकि इसका मतलब ये होगा कि आपके current assets जो आपके numerator में है, which is your ratio is current assets divided by current liabilities. Higher the ratio, better it is naturally, because every firm would want to have more current assets in comparison to current liabilities. The thing is that the difference between your current assets and your quick assets is, see, both measure short-term liquidity. But current assets ke andar, there are two phenomena that are inventory and prepaid expenses, which basically are not quick assets. What do you mean by quick assets? Quick assets mean the assets which are either already in the form of cash or can extremely immediately be converted into cash so as to meet your liabilities. So how do you calculate? Firstly, your current ratio is nothing but current assets divided by your current liabilities. How do you calculate your quick ratio? Or wait, let me do a couple of questions with you before I go on to the quick ratio. Just 1 second. Guys, can you see my Excel sheet? Guys, can you see my Excel?
Oh, ma'am, not yet.
Okay, no problem. I'll just reshare. Okay. Can you check again if you can see my screen? Yeah, can you see my screen now? I want you to calculate the current ratio from this example. We all spoke about the fact that current ratio is your current assets divided by your current liabilities. Current assets are those assets which are either in the form of cash or can be converted into cash, or basically include all such things as your inventory, your marketable securities, your debtors, your sundry debtors, your cash in hand, your cash at bank. All right, so they are those assets basically which can be converted within a year into cash. So can you calculate the current ratio from this question, please?
I think it's 2:1.
Sorry?
I guess it is 2:1.
Okay, just let everybody else also solve it, then we'll discuss.
Ma'am, 2:1.
Okay, I actually have not calculated it, but I'll calculate it right now. I just want to know if there is anybody who has got an answer which is other than 2:1. Is there anyone who has got the answer which is not 2:1? So your current ratio will be your current assets divided by your current liabilities, which is nothing but 15,000 plus this plus marketable securities divided by your short-term debt plus your. Okay, yes, everybody is right. It is 2:1. Okay. Now, if I want you to calculate quick ratio in the same question, can you all calculate the quick ratio?
$1.16.
Okay, let's just wait for everybody to do it. Has everyone done it? Can anyone tell me what is the answer of quick ratio apart from someone who just said 1.1? Is that correct? So this will be actually nothing but, sorry, this will be actually nothing but your cash plus your marketable securities divided by 30,000. Yes, which is 1.16:1. Has everybody got the same answer?
Yes, ma'am.
Guys, are you facing any problem? Anybody is having any problem? Now I want you to solve another question. Can you all please calculate the current ratio from this question?
It's 0.68.
Okay, I've actually not calculated. Is everybody getting the same answer? Just calculate it for you guys. 1 second. Yes, Akanksha, your inventory is not a quick asset. Your prepaid expense is not a quick asset. That's why I subtracted inventory and there was no prepaid expense here, but that's why I subtracted the inventory from your current assets when I calculated the quick ratio. Now here it will be nothing but your cash and cash equivalents plus marketable securities plus inventory plus. Guys, my answer is 2.32. Has anybody got some other answer? No, Akanksha, your inventory is not a quick asset. Your inventory and prepaid expenses are not quick assets. Has anybody got a different answer than this? Guys? The first mistake can be that you must have included sundry creditors also. You would have probably added sundry creditors with your current liabilities, which is not right, because when I have given you the total of your current liabilities here, then there is no need to add sundry creditors. अगर यहाँ पे accounts payable लिखा होता तो आप sundry creditors और accounts payable को add करते. But if I have given you the entire current liabilities, then you don't need to add it. And since it's a current ratio, we will take all of these things and calculate the current ratio. We will not take fixed assets because fixed assets is not a current asset. It is a long-term asset. Any issue, guys? Is anyone facing any problem? Guys, have you all understood why it's 2.32? If someone has not understood, please ask me. Everyone understood? Guys, I'll move forward then. Now we're going to talk about nothing but your cash ratio. So under cash ratio excludes all the quick or current assets except for cash and marketable securities. So your cash ratio is nothing but cash plus marketable securities divided by current liabilities. Now, can you tell me one thing? If I have to calculate the cash ratio here, can you calculate it for me? Can you tell me what is the cash ratio? Cash ratio is nothing but cash plus marketable securities divided by your current liability. Can anyone tell me? So I also, when you calculate this ratio, I'll ask you all one question.
0.66.
That what are you saying?
0.66.
Sorry, 0. I didn't calculate it. Let me just do it. Yeah. So guys, I have a question to ask you, that if a company has a very high cash ratio, so do you think it's a good thing? I mean, a company which has like a very, very high cash ratio, would you think that that is supposed to be a good thing, or is it supposed to be, does that have any problems associated with it?
Ma'am, it
So I
depends
think
on the industry. When it is not a good as per the, if the industry requirement is that such that it requires cash for most of its expenses, then having a cash ratio higher is good. But if the company is making its funds sit idle in the bank account, it's not let them and give them any fruitful results. So it depends on
Yes.
the situation.
So when I say that, yes, Sahil is absolutely right. So when I say that a company must have a high quick current or a cash ratio, I don't mean that a company should have such a high cash ratio that the cash is being just lying idle and is not being invested or used in a place which will generate better returns. All right. So by high, I mean that the current ratio and quick ratio and cash ratio should be liquid enough so as to meet your current liabilities. All right. And of course, certain unforeseen short-term obligations as well. Now today we are going to start talking about nothing but your solvency ratios. Under solvency ratios, when I talked about short-term liquidity, under liquidity ratios, I explained that solvency means long-term solvency. All right. Now there are so many companies who become insolvent. Why does that happen? Because in their funding structure, they don't take care of long-term financial stability. All right, they have such huge amount of debt which they are unable to pay, or they are unable to meet their long-term obligations. So that is nothing but your solvency. How do we judge solvency? Through various ratios, before which I also spoke about something known as a hybrid instrument. So everybody, told me in the last class that, okay, preference shares are shares which have certain preference in the form of dividend, or they have one, if a company gets liquidated, preference shareholders will be paid before equity shareholders. Now, for example, if we talk about debentures, they will probably have a fixed amount of interest rate. They will have a fixed amount of redemption date. So, there are certain features which are associated with every instrument. But when we talk about hybrid instrument, we talk about a fact like you have your hybrid cars. The term hybrid means the same thing when you put it anywhere. But when you put it for instruments, hybrid instruments means the instruments which have features of more than one security. For example, आपकी कोई debt है, अगर उसके पास equity में convert होने का option है, so that is nothing but your hybrid instrument. Why? Because it has features of more than one instrument. All right. So under solvency ratios, like I spoke with you guys yesterday, we will talk about, just one second. Guys, I hope you can see my PPT. Under solvency ratios, like I spoke about, we are going to talk about 5 ratios, which are debt equity ratio, total debt divided by EBITDA ratio, debt to capital employed ratio, debt service coverage ratio, and interest coverage ratio. So guys, when we talk about debt equity ratio, what do you think it means? It is the first solvency ratio which basically measures debt as a percentage of equity. मतलब कि कंपनी के कैपिटल स्ट्रक्चर में कितनी डेट है in comparison to the equity that has been invested by the promoters or the investors. तो naturally अगर आप इसका फॉर्मूला देखेंगे, it is debt upon equity. तो अगर डेट बहुत ज्यादा है और इक्विटी कम है, this can be risky for shareholders because this means that the company is majorly dependent on outside funds from creditors, long-term creditors, and it has a risk of probably inability to repay that amount of debt. All right. So taking debt is not a bad thing, but taking huge amount of debt and having a very high debt ratio, debt equity ratio, can prove to be risky for any company. All right. Now I'm going to ask you to to solve this question for me. Can you calculate the debt equity ratio, please? I hope you all can see the Excel sheet. Please calculate the debt equity ratio. So this actually is a very important ratio which is used in various management decisions to understand how much interest or non-interest bearing debt does a company have in the form of bonds payable, banks, loans, etc. And it actually helps to estimate the additional amount of borrowing taking capacity that a firm has. Can you please calculate the debt equity ratio from this question? Guys, please note that these fixed payments are still payable. They have not been paid yet. And these are long-term notes payable. In case यहाँ पे सिर्फ notes payable भी होता, you can assume it to be long term and always put a note saying that you have assumed this to be long term. Can you all please calculate it? Have you all done it? Can you please repeat? Aditya, Akanksha is saying what kind of debt turns into equity? Convertible debentures, which have the option of getting converted into equity if unpaid for an X amount of years, will be treated as a hybrid instrument. Can you please repeat? Okay. So Aditya, when I talk about solvency, I speak about long-term ability of a firm to pay its long-term obligations. When I talk about long-term obligations, I don't include your current liabilities or your short-term obligations. When I talk about debt equity ratio primarily as a solvency ratio, I try to understand the percentage of debt that a company has in comparison to its equity. So a very, very high debt equity ratio can prove to be risky for a company because it shows that a company which has very little equity investment has a very high amount of debt involved. Can you all please tell me what is the debt equity ratio? Can you all please solve this question? What is the debt equity ratio, guys? So for every solvency ratio, I will try to explain the difference between each ratio so that you remember it and you don't have to memorize the formulas. Guys, it should not take so long. We don't have so much time to spend on every question because there's actually a lot of content also that I want to teach you. These are additional examples that I keep creating. So please be a little faster. These are very small questions. You won't get so much time in any exam per question. Your debt ratio here will be your long-term debt plus your long-term notes plus your long-term bonds plus your other fixed payments that are still payable divided by your common equity and your preferred equity, which is nothing but 4.441. Guys, are you on the same page as me? Is there any confusion? Okay. So guys, like I spoke about debt equity ratio, now I'm going to talk about debt to capital employed ratio. Now from the name, like this was debt equity ratio. Under debt equity ratio, I compared the percentage of debt employed in a company in comparison to the amount of equity. But when I talk about debt to capital employed ratio, I talk about the total debt in comparison to the firm's complete asset base, which consists of both debt as well as equity. All right. Guys, are you understanding what I'm saying? Your debt to capital employed ratio is a next ratio to test the solvency of any company, which indicates the total debt as a percentage of the total capital consisting of debt plus equity. इसमें हम डेट को इक्विटी से कंपेयर कर रहे थे, इसमें हम डेट को इक्विटी प्लस डेट से कंपेयर कर रहे हैं. ऑलराइट, इसका मतलब ये है कि कितना परसेंटेज ऑफ फर्म्स कैपिटल इज फाइनेंस्ड बाय द डेट. ऑलराइट, आई गाइस अभी हम एग्जांपल भी करेंगे. मैं आपको सारे वो दिखा रही हूँ. और लेट्स जस्ट डू एन एग्जांपल फर्स्ट. Guys, can you do the example for me? Calculate the debt to capital employed ratio and calculate the debt equity ratio. Can you calculate it? Akanksha, when we talk about debt to capital employed ratio, we actually try to understand कि एक फर्म की जो पूरी एसेट बेस है वो कितनी डेट से फाइनेंस हुई है. मतलब पूरे कैपिटल एम्प्लॉयड में आपकी डेट की इंटेंसिटी कितनी है. ऑलराइट, can you all please solve the debt to capital employed and debt equity ratio? Guys, I need you to be a little faster. I can go a little slower, but you will have to meet me midway by being a little faster because I want to do more questions with you. आपको questions करेंगे तो आपके doubts clear होंगे.
Ma'am, debt to equity is 0.8.
Okay.
Debt to capital employed ratio
Yes.
is 0.38.
Now, can you tell me how did you calculate it?
So it's 20,000
Can you-
divided by 52,000.
Divided by?
52,000.
Can anyone tell me how is it divided by 52,000?
No,
0.44. That is 20,000 by
0.44.
20.
It will be 20,000 divided by 45,000. How did you get
Yes,
45,000?
ma'am.
45,000 is your
Ma'am, 25 plus
total of
20,000.
your debt and 20 plus 25,000. All right, because it is your debt in comparison to the percentage of debt and equity. All right. Yes, Isha. Yes, Sahil. Yes. Akanksha is saying, is it 2? What is 2, Akanksha? Debt equity is 0.8 and debt to capital employed is 0.44. How is debt equity 0.8? That is your 20,000 divided by 25,000 and your debt to capital employed is 20,000 divided by your 45,000. Are you understanding what I'm saying? Is there any confusion?
Ma'am, when does EBITDA
Okay.
come into picture?
It comes in another ratio. I had actually just written it to confuse you, but it is not relevant in this ratio. So guys, मैं आपको जब हर example देती हूँ ना, the only reason why I include some elements which are not relevant is so that you try to understand that there will be certain parts in a question that will be irrelevant for you, which will only be given to you for confusing you. So just ignore them. This is relevant in your interest coverage ratio, which I'm going to speak about now. When I talk about the ratio, which is interest coverage ratio, अब आपने नाम से समझ लिया कि डेट इक्विटी में हम क्या मेजर कर रहे हैं, कितनी डेट कैपिटल में है एम्प्लॉयड इन कंपैरिजन टू द अमाउंट ऑफ इक्विटी. आपने डेट टू कैपिटल एम्प्लॉयड में ये मेजर कर लिया कि मेरी पूरी एसेट बेस में कितनी डेट है इन कंपैरिजन टू डेट प्लस इक्विटी. लाइकवाइज जब हम इंटरेस्ट कवरेज रेशियो की बात करते हैं तो क्या बोलता है ये, इंटरेस्ट कवरेज, मतलब कि एक कंपनी अपने इंटरेस्ट एक्सपेंसेस को कवर कर पाएगी कि नहीं. क्या मतलब कि वो इंटरेस्ट एक्सपेंसेस को अपना रीपे कर पाएगी कि नहीं. सो हाउ विल यू कैलकुलेट इट? यू विल ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड कि जो कंपनी की अर्निंग थी बिफोर इंटरेस्ट एंड टैक्सेस, क्या वो इतनी सफिशिएंट थी कि वो अपनी टोटल इंटरेस्ट एक्सपेंस को रीपे कर पाए. सो हायर इंटरेस्ट कवरेज रेशियो बेटर होगा कि लोअर इंटरेस्ट कवरेज रेशियो?
Higher is better.
Exactly. Why? I'll give you a very clear example.
Because then it will show the ability of the firm
Then
to repay back its
EBIT,
expenses.
अगर मेरी EBIT 5,000 है, जब भी आपको कोई डाउट हो ना, आप हमेशा अपने दिमाग के क्वेश्चन को नंबर्स दे दो टू अंडरस्टैंड कि व्हाट इज द आंसर. अब आपने देखा कि मेरा अर्निंग बिफोर इंटरेस्ट एंड टैक्स 5,000 है और मेरा 6,000 का इंटरेस्ट एक्सपेंस है, जिसकी वजह से मेरा इंटरेस्ट कवरेज रेशियो 0.83 आया. मतलब कि मेरा जो EBIT था वो तो इंटरेस्ट से भी कम था. लाइकवाइज इसमें मेरा क्या हुआ, EBIT तो 5,000 ही रहा, बट मेरा इंटरेस्ट एक्सपेंस मैंने इसमें 3,000 बोला, तो मेरा इंटरेस्ट कवरेज रेशियो बढ़ गया. तो मतलब कि आपकी मेरी EBIT ज्यादा हो गई. सिर्फ दो वेज में आपका रेशियो बढ़ सकता है, या तो आपका इंटरेस्ट कम हो जाए या आपकी EBIT बढ़ जाए. दोनों वेज आर फेवरेबल फॉर यू इफ यू हैव अ लेसर इंटरेस्ट लायबिलिटी और यू हैव अ हायर अर्निंग बिफोर इंटरेस्ट एंड टैक्स. सो इंटरेस्ट कवरेज रेशियो, मैं आपको बस इन सब चीजों के बीच में डिफरेंसेस इसलिए बता रही हूँ और ये एक के बाद एक इसलिए रखे गए हैं ताकि आपको डिफरेंस समझ आए. डेट इक्विटी में हम डेट टू इक्विटी की कंपैरिजन करते हैं, हम डेट टू कैपिटल एम्प्लॉयड में डेट टू कैपिटल एम्प्लॉयड की करते हैं. इंटरेस्ट कवरेज में बाय इट्स नेम हम ये चेक करते हैं कि ये कंपनी इंटरेस्ट कवर करने के लिए इतना अर्निंग बिफोर इंटरेस्ट एंड टैक्स कमा भी पाती है कि नहीं. अब इस रेशियो में विच इज योर डेट सर्विस कवरेज रेशियो, इसके और इंटरेस्ट कवरेज में क्या फर्क हुआ? इसमें हम ये चेक करते हैं कि जो आपकी जैसे इंटरेस्ट कवरेज में सिर्फ इंटरेस्ट चेक होता था, इसमें आपका इंटरेस्ट के साथ साथ प्रिंसिपल ऑब्लिगेशन भी चेक होगा. मतलब कि क्या एक कंपनी इतना कमाती है कि वो इंटरेस्ट एक्सपेंस प्लस, प्लीज नोट द डिफरेंस, प्रिंसिपल एक्सपेंस को कवर कर पाती है कि नहीं. ऑल राइट, दिस इज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट सॉल्वेंसी रेशियो. ये एक्चुअली लोन डॉक्यूमेंट्स में बहुत ज्यादा यूज होता है कि कंपनी, इट इज नॉट ओनली नेसेसरी ना कि मैं इंटरेस्ट पे करती जा रही हूँ, बट व्हाट अबाउट द प्रिंसिपल ऑब्लिगेशन, मेरे पास प्रिंसिपल ऑब्लिगेशन रीपे करने की एबिलिटी है कि नहीं, उतनी मेरे पास नेट ऑपरेटिंग इनकम है कि नहीं. So this ratio is nothing but a comparison of the amount of net profit plus depreciation and interest divided by your interest and principal amount of expenditure. अगर मैं इसमें सिर्फ इंटरेस्ट रखती हूँ और सिर्फ EBIT रखती हूँ, तब मैं उसका सिर्फ इंटरेस्ट कवरेज रेशियो निकाल रही हूँ. एंड गाइज आपको अगर याद हो तो कल मैंने साहिल ने क्वेश्चन आंसर किया था, आई थिंक, जब मैं सबसे पूछ रही थी कि फॉर इंस्टेंस अगर मेरा सॉल्वेंसी रेशियो is I am at a major risk and I want to improve my solvency ratio. तो आपने एलिमेंट्स तो देख ही लिए ना सॉल्वेंसी रेशियो के क्या क्या होते हैं, इंटरेस्ट एक्सपेंस, योर प्रिंसिपल ऑब्लिगेशन, योर डेट परसेंटेज, योर इक्विटी परसेंटेज. तो आप एक कंपनी क्या मेजर्स लेगी अपने सॉल्वेंसी रेशियो को इम्प्रूव करने के लिए? Can you all please tell me? If you remember, we had a brief discussion about this yesterday. Guys, we spoke about the fact कि अगर एक कंपनी को अपनी सॉल्वेंसी पोजीशन बेटर करनी है तो फर्स्ट प्राइमरी थिंग इज कि वो और डेट नहीं लेगी. सेकेंड थिंग इज जो उसकी एग्जिस्टिंग डेट है उसको कम करेगी. उसको कम करने के लिए कैसे कर सकते हैं? या तो आप अपने करंट फिक्स्ड एसेट अपने लॉन्ग टर्म एसेट्स को बेचे, सेल योर एसेट्स सो एज टू रिड्यूस योर डेट. आप अपना बिजनेस स्ट्रक्चर ऐसे रीऑर्गेनाइज करें कि आपकी इक्विटी इन्वेस्टमेंट बढ़े, प्रेफरेंस शेयर इन्वेस्टमेंट बढ़े, आपकी डेट परसेंटेज कम हो. आप अपना मनी और एसेट्स ऐसे री इन्वेस्ट करें कि आपको इतनी रिटर्न्स आए कि आपकी डेट, द अमाउंट ऑफ डेट रिड्यूसेस. Yes, increase sales, of course, but it basically means improve your top line number. So these are certain ways through which you can improve your solvency ratios. The next set of ratios that we are going to talk about are nothing but valuation
Hello, ma'am.
ratios.
Ma'am, can you just repeat the means all the principles that you said to how to improve solvency ratios?
ओके, सो जब हम सॉल्वेंसी की बात करते हैं तो हम सॉल्वेंसी में क्या क्या, हम सॉल्वेंसी में ऑब्वियसली शॉर्ट टर्म डेट, शॉर्ट टर्म लाइबिलिटीज, शॉर्ट टर्म हमारे करंट एसेट्स, हम इनकी तो बातें नहीं करते हैं बिकॉज सॉल्वेंसी इज लॉन्ग टर्म. तो जब आप लॉन्ग टर्म सोचते हैं तो आपके क्या आते हैं दिमाग में? आपके लॉन्ग टर्म एसेट्स, लॉन्ग टर्म लाइबिलिटीज, डेट, इक्विटी, increasing your sales so as to increase your profit. These are the certain objectives that come in your mind. How you fulfill these objectives is कि you will try to repay the existing debt as soon as possible. You will try to reduce the debt. Now, how will you reduce the debt? Either you can reduce the debt by increasing your percentage of equity investment. You can reduce the debt by reinvesting your money and your assets in such a way कि उनके returns जब आए तो आप अपनी debt कम कर सकें. या आप अपने लॉन्ग टर्म एसेट्स को यू कैन सेल दोज एसेट्स एंड रीपे योर डेट्स. सो देयर आर वेरियस वेज टू improve your solvency which, और ऐसा इसका कोई एक वे नहीं है कि आपने सारे एसेट्स बेच दिए और आपने रीपे कर दी डेट तो आपके फर्म के पास कोई एसेट्स भी तो नहीं बचे हैं. सो देयर इज नॉट वन सिंगल स्टेटमेंट कि आप ये कर दो और आपकी सॉल्वेंसी रेशियो बेटर हो जाएगी. इट्स अ कलेक्टिव एफर्ट ऑफ वेरियस थिंग्स. यू सी कि आपके कौन से बिजनेस लाइंस they were not working well, what were your business streams that were not doing well. You discard those, you focus on your profit revenue generating streams. You try to generate maximum profits. You try to avoid taking more debt. You try to increase your owner's equity in the capital employed. So there are various, it's a collective effort of multiple things so as to improve the solvency position of any company. All right. Now we are going to talk about the
Hello, ma'am.
valuation ratio and I'll
Hello,
take a
ma'am.
quick.
Hello,
Hanji Sahil. Hanji Sahil.
ma'am. Isn't the capital
Hanji
gearing
Hanji
ratio the
Sahil.
part of solvency? Ma'am, isn't capital gearing ratio the part of
Sorry?
solvency ratios? Isn't capital gearing ratio the part of solvency ratios?
You're talking about which ratio, Sahil? Can you write on chat?
Capital gearing ratio.
Okay. You're talking about the capital gearing ratio, which is basically nothing but a measurement of debt that a company has in percentage of its equity.
So apart from that, it also has a equity fixed dividend bearing securities. So that is what it made it different from debt to equity.
What are your fixed percentage bearing securities? Which are your
Preference share?
preference shares and
Yes.
your hybrid
So-
instruments? So if you noted in this example, when I had written your preference equity, which was a hybrid instrument, I had clearly included it in your equity denominator.
But ma'am, in capital gearing ratio, what I have read is interest and dividend bearing securities divided by equity shareholder fund.
It's your fixed cost bearing securities, right?
Yes.
Not interest bearing securities. आपको preference shares पे interest नहीं मिलता है, आपको dividend मिलता है. So it is your fixed cost bearing securities which are also included in your denominator. So when you calculate your debt equity ratio and the capital gearing ratio, the only difference will be that you will include, देखिए आप डेट इक्विटी में अपने हाइब्रिड इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स भी करेंगे इक्विटी के साथ इंक्लूड, जैसे आपकी प्रेफरेंस इक्विटी है. In capital gearing ratio, you will have your common stockholders equity divided by your fixed cost bearing funds. All right. So there आप उसको debt से divide नहीं कर रहे हैं.
I think it's different. What I have read is interest and fixed dividend bearing securities
Where have
divided
you
by
read
equity
it?
shareholder fund.
Where have you read it? Sahil?
Investopedia, I think.
Your capital gearing ratio is nothing but your common stockholders equity divided by fixed cost bearing funds.
No.
It is not, your numerator doesn't have
I'll
debt.
get back to you on this, ma'am.
Okay, no problem. Okay, so guys, we are going to take a 5 minutes break and we are going to start with valuation ratios. Abhi I am doing only 1 or 2 examples per ratio only, so that मैं अभी आपका एक set of ratio complete करने के बाद I'll give you a lot of examples with certain twists ताकि आपको थोड़ा बहुत confusion हो and we can clear those confusions in class. So अभी it's 8:59, 9:05 पे let's meet and start with valuation ratios. Hello, is everyone back? Is everyone back?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. So guys, now we're going to talk about nothing but valuation ratios. और उसके रेशियो के पहले बात करने से पहले मैं चाहती हूँ कि आप लोग मुझे कोई बताएं कि वैल्यूएशन का क्या मतलब होता है.
Valuation of the company.
Valuation can be of anything actually. Valuation can be of a company, of jewelry, of your house, of your car. It can be of anything. Valuation का मतलब होता है कि एक professional judgment about the worth of some particular thing. All right. So when we talk about valuation ratios, सबसे important चीज which is a company's share price. Valuation ratios give us an insight about the share price of a particular company to understand कि वो company की investment potential है क्या नहीं. Valuation ratios give us important information in case of demergers, in case of mergers and acquisitions, in case of hive of undertakings. So these are very, very important financial aspects that we will discuss. Before I talk about any ratio, I will talk about this term and I want to know if you all understand this. This is known as earning per share. तो इसका क्या मतलब है, कोई मेरे को बता सकता है?
It's, the PAT up divided by total number of shares.
नहीं, वो आपका फॉर्मूला है. What is the meaning of earning per share? मतलब earning per share. What does this mean? It means कि एक कंपनी ने एक शेयर होल्डर के हर शेयर पे कितनी अर्निंग कमाई, राइट? मतलब कंपनी ने फॉर इंस्टेंस अगर 800 मिलियन की अर्निंग्स करी और उसके पास 40 मिलियन के शेयर्स हैं, तो मतलब हर शेयर के लिए 20 रुपए अर्निंग पर शेयर हुआ, राइट? So earning per share is nothing but how much profit the company has made per share. Right? Everybody is on the same page?
Yes.
तो अब मेरे को एक बात बताओ, अब हम ईपीएस की बात करते हैं तो हम एक तो हमारा बेसिक ईपीएस होता है जो हमारा कुछ भी नहीं है, जैसे बताया प्रॉफिट आफ्टर टैक्स डिवाइडेड बाय द नंबर ऑफ इक्विटी शेयर्स. अब मुझे कोई बताएगा, किसी ने सुना है डाइल्यूटेड ईपीएस? अभी हमने हाइब्रिड इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स की बात करी थी जिसमें हम कन्वर्टेबल सिक्योरिटीज की बात करते थे, जिसमें हम कहते थे कि कुछ डिवेंचर्स हैं या कुछ प्रेफरेंस शेयर्स हैं जो इक्विटी में कन्वर्ट हो सकते हैं. दे आर कन्वर्टेबल इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स. सो जब भी ऐसे कन्वर्टेबल सिक्योरिटीज की बात आती है जो से इनटू शेयर्स कन्वर्ट हो सकती है, जिसकी वजह से हमारे नंबर ऑफ शेयर्स आउटस्टैंडिंग इंक्रीज हो जाएंगे, then we do not calculate a basic EPS. We calculate what is known as we calculate what is known as a diluted EPS.
It is basically
diluted EPS.
yes, that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
It is
So
basic share
basic
plus dilution
EPS.
during the year.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So basic और diluted EPS में फर्क ये है कि under diluted EPS you also take into regard the convertible instruments. All right. So we also make an assumption under diluted EPS that it is profit after tax divided by weighted average shares outstanding, assuming conversion of convertible instruments. All right. So this is the sole difference between your basic and your diluted EPS. मुझे आप लोगों से एक चीज पूछनी है कि अगर एक कंपनी ने से 800 मिलियन के प्रॉफिट्स जनरेट करे, तो जरूरी है कि वो 800 मिलियन के ही डिविडेंड दे देगी अपने शेयर होल्डर्स को?
No.
No, ma'am.
प्रॉफिट्स का क्या होता है यूटिलाइजेशन? या तो आप शेयर होल्डर्स को अपने डिविडेंड देते हो, या आप
और
उसको
return कर-
रीइन्वेस्ट करते हो, या आप उसके साथ उससे फिक्स्ड एसेट्स खरीदते हो, कैपिटल एक्सपेंडिचर करते हो, रिटेन अर्निंग्स को अपना रीइन्वेस्ट करके रिटर्न जनरेट करते हो, कुछ अमाउंट ऑफ कैश की लिक्विडिटी रखते हो. सो इट इज नॉट नेसेसरी कि एक कंपनी जो बहुत हाई प्रॉफिट्स कमा रही हो वो बहुत हाई डिविडेंड्स भी दे रही हो. Why? Because especially in the case of fast growing companies जैसे हमारी जो startups हैं, all of that, these companies, because they are not mature companies, इनकी investment opportunities अभी बहुत सारी हैं जो exhaust नहीं हुई हैं. They generally tend to retain the amount of profits so as to invest in capital assets, in your other investment opportunities. तो उनका जो डिविडेंड पे आउट रेशियो होता है वो इतना हाई नहीं होता. डिविडेंड पे आउट रेशियो का क्या मतलब? डिविडेंड पे आउट रेशियो का मतलब कि कितनी परसेंटेज ऑफ अर्निंग पे आउट होगी एज डिविडेंड. समझे? मतलब एक कंपनी के ईपीएस और डीपीएस में बहुत फर्क हो सकता है. क्यों? पहली बात तो डिविडेंड पे आउट रेशियो इज कैलकुलेटेड एज डीपीएस डिवाइडेड बाय ईपीएस. व्हाट इज योर डीपीएस? डीपीएस इज योर डिविडेंड पर शेयर, which is the amount of dividend that has been paid per share. जो आपका डिविडेंड पे आउट रेशियो है वो आपके डीपीएस और ईपीएस को कंपेयर करके ये बताता है कि कितना परसेंटेज ऑफ अर्निंग पे आउट हुआ एज अ डिविडेंड. ऑल राइट. So it is not necessary that a company which has a very high earning per share, that company may not have a very high dividend per share. All right. इन concepts में आप डिफरेंस समझिए. ऑलराइट. अब मुझे कोई बताएगा कि अगर मैं बोलूं कि डिविडेंड यील्ड, सबको पता है यील्ड का क्या मतलब होता है? एनीबडी नोज व्हाट द टर्म यील्ड मींस?
Total return out of our investment.
Total
Return made out of an investment, which includes both the interest part and the capital appreciation part in terms of bond FEC.
Sahil, there's a little bit of disturbance. Just give me 1 minute. Let me just check my network. Just give me 1 second.
Your screen is also blurring, ma'am.
Can you check now? I have connected with hotspot now. I hope it is better. So जब मैं डिविडेंड यील्ड की बात करती हूँ गाइस, तो ये रेशियो जो डिविडेंड इशूड होते हैं बाय अ कंपनी इन द प्रीवियस ईयर, वो उसको कंपनी के करंट शेयर प्राइस से कंपेयर करती है. मतलब कि ये वो रिटर्न्स एक इन्वेस्टर के मेजर करते हैं जो एक इन्वेस्टर अपने डिविडेंड से अर्न करता है. What do you mean by this? You mean your dividend per share divided by your current share price. इसका क्या मतलब? इसका मतलब कि how much return a shareholder has earned or can earn through the form of dividend. All right. हम क्या करते हैं? हम कंपेयर करते हैं डीपीएस को with its current share price. अगर एक डिविडेंड यील्ड बहुत ज्यादा होती है तो इसका ये मतलब होता है कि बहुत हाई अमाउंट ऑफ डिविडेंड पे किया जा रहा है इन कंपैरिजन टू द करंट शेयर प्राइस ऑफ द कंपनी, which is a very good investment opportunity because who will not want कि उसने जितनी इन्वेस्टमेंट करी शेयर्स में at an X amount of price, which was either the price at which. दो चीजें होती हैं. डिविडेंड यील्ड इज ऑफ 2 टाइप्स. एक होता है जब आपने परचेज करा हुआ है शेयर, तो आप यहाँ पे वो प्राइस डालते हो at which the share was purchased. जब आप डिविडेंड यील्ड उसके लिए निकालते हो कि आपने अभी शेयर परचेज नहीं करा, आप परचेज करना चाहते हो, तो आप करंट शेयर प्राइस डालते हो. आप ये देखते हो कि कितना डिविडेंड मैं एज एन इन्वेस्टर अर्न कर सकता हूं और मैं कितना डिविडेंड पर शेयर अर्न करा है मैंने इन कंपैरिजन टू द परचेज प्राइस जो मैंने एक शेयर के लिए दी थी. Guys, are you all understanding? For example, if a company pays a dividend of rupees 5 per share और एक कंपनी की शेयर प्राइस थी 50, तो मतलब डिविडेंड यील्ड कितना हुआ? 10% हुआ, क्योंकि डिविडेंड 5 रुपए है और मैंने शेयर खरीदा था 50 रुपए का. तो मतलब एक इन्वेस्टर 10% रिटर्न मिलेगी जब अपने 50 रुपए के हर शेयर पे. हमने क्या क्या डिस्कस किया? पहले हमने डिस्कस किया कि अर्निंग पर शेयर क्या होती है, मतलब टोटल अर्निंग्स of a company divided by the total number of shares outstanding. मेरी एक शेयर की अर्निंग कितनी हुई? जब हमने अर्निंग पर शेयर को दो चीजों में डिवाइड किया, विच वाज बेसिक एंड डाइल्यूटेड. बेसिक का मतलब है जब हमने कन्वर्टेबल इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स को रिगार्ड नहीं दिया. डाइल्यूटेड ईपीएस में हम कन्वर्टेबल इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स को इंक्लूड करते हैं. देन वी स्पोक अबाउट डिविडेंड पर शेयर, जिसमें हमने ये बोला कि कितना अमाउंट ऑफ डिविडेंड पर शेयर दिया जा रहा है. फिर हमने जब डिविडेंड पे आउट रेशियो की बात करी तो हमने ये अंडरस्टैंड करना चाहा कि परसेंटेज ऑफ डिविडेंड इन कंपैरिजन टू द ईपीएस कितना दिया जा रहा है, राइट? उसके बाद ही केम टू डिविडेंड यील्ड. डिविडेंड यील्ड का क्या मतलब कि अगर मैं एज एन इन्वेस्टर शेयर खरीदना चाहता हूं या मैंने एक शेयर खरीदा हुआ है, तो अगर मैं शेयर खरीदना चाहता हूं तो मैं उसको डीपीएस से कंपेयर करके ये देखता हूं कि उसकी करंट शेयर प्राइस के रिस्पेक्ट में मुझे कितना परसेंटेज डिविडेंड पर शेयर मिलता है. और अगर मैंने शेयर पहले खरीदा हुआ है तो मैं ये चेक करता हूं कि कितना परसेंटेज ऑफ डिविडेंड पर शेयर मुझे दिया जा रहा है इन कंपैरिजन टू द प्राइस एट विच माय शेयर वाज परचेज्ड. ऑलराइट guys, अभी आप डोंट वरी, अभी वी आर गोइंग टू डू एग्जांपल्स फॉर एवरीथिंग. नाउ कैन एनीवन टेल मी व्हाट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ बुक वैल्यू? बुक वैल्यू का क्या मतलब होता है?
The accounting value of the share.
Guys, let me just increase the volume 1 minute. What did you say? Was it Bhavesh who was answering right now? Book value मतलब बुक वैल्यू का मतलब ये होता है कितनी वैल्यू पे एक सिक्योरिटी या एसेट की वैल्यू बुक्स में एंटर करी हुई. सिंपल मीनिंग कि फर्म के बुक्स में किस प्राइस पे किस वैल्यू पे उस सिक्योरिटी या एसेट को रिकॉर्ड किया गया. दैट इज योर बुक वैल्यू. एवरीबडी नोज व्हाट इज मार्केट वैल्यू. मार्केट वैल्यू और बुक वैल्यू में सबको फर्क पता है गाइस?
Yes.
व्हाट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ मार्केट वैल्यू?
The current value at which the share is being traded.
शेयर मतलब एनीथिंग, बेसिकली प्राइस एट विच एक, चाहे वो बिल्डिंग हो, प्रोडक्ट हो, शेयर हो, वो मार्केट में कितने की बिक रही है, राइट? दैट इज द मार्केट वैल्यू ऑफ अ पर्टिकुलर सिक्योरिटी और एसेट और व्हाटएवर. ऑलराइट, तो जब हम प्राइस अर्निंग रेशियो कैलकुलेट करते हैं तो प्राइस रेशियो में देखो, हर बंदा जो इन्वेस्ट करता है कंपनी में, सिंपल लॉजिक है, ऑब्जेक्टिव होता है अर्निंग प्रॉफिट. ठीक है, तो वैल्यूएशन रेशियोज बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होते हैं. और प्राइस अर्निंग रेशियो इसलिए इंपॉर्टेंट होता है क्योंकि वो ये कंपेयर करता है कि मार्केट प्राइस पर शेयर डिवाइडेड बाय टोटल प्रॉफिट ऑफ द कंपनी इन द 12 मंथ्स कैसा रहा. व्हाट इज योर प्राइस अर्निंग रेशियो? Guys, you all can see my Excel, right? Because I'm going on writing things. I hope आपको दिख रहा हो. It is nothing but market price of the share divided by profit in the previous 12 months. What is this PE ratios? PE ratios, fast maturing companies or matured companies का, of course it varies. It depends कि high expectation of growth है या low expectation of growth है. So this actually tells you कि what is the worth of the company. मतलब एक company ने in comparison to its market price previous 12 months में profits generate करे तो price earning कितनी हुई. Alright, price earning ratio भी guys दो टाइप के होते हैं. Price earning ratio एक तो होता है trailing और एक होता है forward. ट्रेलिंग का क्या मतलब? जिसमें हम प्रीवियस 12 मंथ्स के, लेट मी राइट इट, ट्रेलिंग, और एक होता है फॉरवर्ड. ट्रेलिंग का क्या मतलब? ट्रेलिंग का मतलब कि हमने प्रीवियस 12 मंथ प्रॉफिट लिया, प्रीवियस मंथ्स की अर्निंग ली. जब हमने फॉरवर्ड लिया तो फॉरवर्ड में हमने अगले साल की अर्निंग्स ली. ऑफ कोर्स इट डिपेंड्स कि आप किस सिचुएशन में, अगर आप फॉर इंस्टेंस एक नया, इफ यू आर एंटरिंग इनटू से अ न्यू वेंचर, यू डोंट हैव इनफ इंफॉर्मेशन ऑन कि आपकी फ्यूचर की अर्निंग्स कितनी होंगी. अभी आपके पास, यू डोंट हैव इंफॉर्मेशन ऑन द रिफ्लेक्शन ऑफ फ्यूचर अर्निंग्स, तब आप ट्रेलिंग पी रेशियो करते हैं. जब फोरकास्टेड अर्निंग्स अवेलेबल नहीं होती तब आप ट्रेलिंग पी रेशियो करते हैं. पर अगर फॉर इंस्टेंस आप एक स्टार्टअप है, आपके पास तो प्रीवियस 12 मंथ्स का प्रॉफिट है ही नहीं, का अर्निंग है ही नहीं, तो आप क्या करेंगे? तब आप एज एन एक्सपेक्टेशन बेसिस पे फॉरवर्ड पी रेशियो को कैलकुलेट करेंगे. ऑलराइट, सो हमने वैल्यूएशन रेशियो में क्या क्या बातें करी? हमने बातें करी अर्निंग पर शेयर की, उसमें हमने बेसिक और डाइल्यूटेड की बातें करी, हमने डिविडेंड पर शेयर की बात करी, हमने डिविडेंड यील्ड की बात करी, हमने डिविडेंड पे आउट रेशियो की बात करी। अब हम बात कर रहे हैं एक वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट कॉन्सेप्ट की, विच इज नथिंग बट एंटरप्राइज वैल्यू। Sahil or anybody can tell me what is enterprise value? Akanksha is saying if forecast amounts are not available, then we will use your previous year's earnings, Akanksha. जैसे इन केस ऑफ आपने से कोई नई लाइन शुरू करी किसी बिजनेस की, अब आपको नहीं पता, आपको यू थिंक दैट द अमाउंट ऑफ प्रिडिक्शन इज नॉट एक्यूरेट, आप अपनी प्रीवियस ईयर्स की अर्निंग देख लो, या फिर जनरली क्या हो, या अगर आपके पास से आप स्टार्टअप हो, आपके पास पुरानी अर्निंग्स का कोई इन्फॉर्मेशन ऑब्वियसली है ही नहीं, सो आप अपने प्रिडिक्शन, जो आपकी प्रिडिक्शन एनालिसिस हुई है, जो फोरकास्ट हुआ है, तो आप उसके बेसिस पे अपना पी रेशियो कैलकुलेट करोगे। कैन यू टेल मी आपका एंटरप्राइज वैल्यू क्या होता है? एनीवन? एंटरप्राइज की वैल्यू, व्हाट इज योर एंटरप्राइज वैल्यू? मतलब एक कंपनी की टोटल वैल्यू।
Yes,
हाँ
sir.
जी,
It is sum of equity and
हाँ
debt.
हाँ बताओ।
So it is in case of only unlevered company where there is no debt, it is uh, where EV/80 upon K, cost of equity. So that is one formula. Or in case of levered firms,
नॉट फॉर्मूला, मैं आपसे मीनिंग पूछ रही हूँ। नहीं नहीं, आई डोंट वांट टू नो द फॉर्मूला साहिल, आई एम वांट टू नो द मीनिंग। एंटरप्राइज वैल्यू का मतलब क्या होता है? कंपनी, एक एंटरप्राइज की टोटल वैल्यू। टोटल वैल्यू में क्या क्या हो सकता है? टोटल वैल्यू में आपकी डेट हो सकती है, आपकी इक्विटी हो सकती है, क्योंकि एक एंटरप्राइज में क्या क्या, उसके कैपिटलाइजेशन में क्या क्या होता है? इक्विटी होती है, डेट होती है, प्रेफरेंस शेयर्स होती है, minority interest होती है. So basically it is actually the value of claims of all equity shareholders, all preference shareholders, all debenture holders, that the claims of all of these holders that they have on a company. कोई मुझे बता सकते हैं minority interest क्या होता है? से मैं एक होल्डिंग कंपनी हूँ, I hold say 80% in my subsidiary company. तो जो बैलेंस 20% के होल्डर्स हैं, जो ओनरशिप या इंटरेस्ट जो बैलेंस है अपार्ट फ्रॉम व्हाट आई होल्ड इन माय सब्सिडरी कंपनी, जो स्टॉक ओनरशिप है, दैट इज नोन एज माइनॉरिटी इंटरेस्ट. It is a portion of that subsidiary stock that is not owned by the parent company. So जब हम एंटरप्राइज वैल्यू की बात करते हैं, हम क्या क्या लेते हैं? हम लेते हैं मार्केट कैपिटलाइजेशन कितनी है उस कंपनी की, हम देते हैं हमारी डेट कितनी है, हमारी माइनॉरिटी इंटरेस्ट कितनी है, हमारी प्रेफरेंस शेयर कैपिटल कितनी है, और हम वी सबट्रैक्ट जो भी हमारे कैश एंड कैश इक्विवेलेंस है. दैट इज योर एंटरप्राइज वैल्यू. जो अभी साहिल बोल रहे थे, ईवी अपॉन एबिटा, विच इज योर एंटरप्राइज value divided by EBITDA, that is a ratio that we are calculating. But जब हम enterprise value की बात करते हैं, that enterprise value is nothing but a claim of all the shareholders, whether it is your equity, preference, debt, minority interest, all of these holders on the company. All right. गाइस, हमने इतनी सारी बात करी शेयर होल्डर्स रिटर्न की, ऑल ऑफ दैट, पर जब हम एक कंपनी में एक शेयर होल्डर की टोटल शेयर होल्डर रिटर्न कैलकुलेट करते हैं, तो इट इज नथिंग बट P1 माइनस P0 प्लस जो डिविडेंड ऑब्वियसली मिला एक शेयर होल्डर को, डिवाइडेड बाय P0. P0 का क्या मतलब और P1 का क्या मतलब? P1 का मतलब जो स्टॉक, सॉरी साहिल, मुझे सुनाई नहीं दिया आप क्या बोल रहे हो.
price at the beginning.
What are you saying?
P0 is price at
No,
the
no,
beginning.
that is P0 ना. हाँ,
Yes.
P0 मतलब जिस प्राइस पे मैंने खरीदा. P1 मतलब कि आज के डेट पे जब मैं अपना शेयर होल्डर का रिटर्न चेक कर रही हूँ, तो आज के डेट में उसका क्या प्राइस है. ओके. एंड डिविडेंड इज कि जो मेरा जिस दिन पे मैंने खरीदा था P0 और आज के डे में P1, तो P1 और P0 की ड्यूरेशन के बीच में मुझे जो भी डिविडेंड मिला, उस डिविडेंड को मैं ऐड करूंगी एंड आई विल डिवाइड इट बाय P0 टू अंडरस्टैंड कि मेरी एक्चुअल शेयर होल्डर रिटर्न कितनी थी. Got it, guys? Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
ओके गाइस, इतने सारे रेशियो की बात तो हमने कर ली, पर कोई मुझे बताएगा कि आपको लगता है कि रेशियोज की भी कोई लिमिटेशंस होती हैं? मतलब वी हैव डिस्कस्ड कि रेशियोज के कितने सारे यूजर्स होते हैं, कितने टाइप के रेशियोज होते हैं, कितने बेनिफिट्स होते हैं रेशियो एनालिसिस के। आपको लगता है कि रेशियो एनालिसिस के कोई लिमिटेशंस भी होते हैं?
Hello, ma'am. Can we scroll up to that formula, market value formula?
हाँ, सॉरी,
The market value.
चलो अब मुझे कोई बताएगा जो ये रहा ना, आई एम डन।
I have a question. Hello?
Please go ahead. I am just showing
Yeah,
you the
so
PPT for the formula. Yeah, please go ahead.
when we are talking about the shareholder return and we are considering P1, so this is the initial stock price or purchase price. So we can say that this is the book value, right?
नहीं, sorry,
P1.
what are you saying?
In
No, so book
shareholder return.
value और अच्छा, who's asking मेगा, okay.
Yeah.
So मेगा, जब मैंने बुक वैल्यू की बात करी ना, तो बुक वैल्यू में मैंने आपको क्या बोला? बुक वैल्यू वो वैल्यू होती है एट विच एक पर्टिकुलर एसेट या सिक्योरिटी या व्हाटएवर इज एंटर्ड इन द बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट्स। मैं आपको एक एग्जांपल देती हूँ। जैसे मैंने खरीदा मैंने एक प्लांट या मशीनरी खरीदी, ठीक है, वो मशीनरी 50,000 की है मार्केट में, मैंने खरीदी थी ये 2 साल पहले और मैं उस पर डिप्रिसिएशन भी चार्ज कर रही हूँ, ऑल ऑफ दैट। मैंने अपने बुक्स में उसको रिकॉर्ड किया हुआ है 40,000 का, ठीक है, क्योंकि ऑब्वियसली आई हैव सबट्रैक्टेड द वेयर एंड टेयर, द ऑब्सोलेंस, द डिप्रिसिएशन, ब्ला ब्ला ब्ला। तो इसमें मेरी मशीनरी की बुक वैल्यू क्या हुई? 40,000, पर उसकी मार्केट वैल्यू क्या हुई? 50,000. So there is always going to be a difference between the book value of a certain thing and a market value of a certain thing. Market value का value मतलब ये है कि वो एक market में कितने की worth है. Got it? तो जब हम P0 बोलते हैं, आप देखो, मैं एक शेयर होल्डर हूं, मैं जानना चाहती हूँ कि मेरी रिटर्न कितनी थी। तो मैं कहती हूँ कि मैंने 100 रुपए का शेयर, 1000 रुपए का शेयर खरीदा था, ठीक है, ये मेरी परचेज प्राइस थी। आज के दिन पे जब मैं अपनी शेयर होल्डर की रिटर्न जानना चाहती हूँ, मेरी शेयर की प्राइस है 2,500, ठीक है, और मेरे को जब मैंने खरीदा था उसके 6-7 महीने के बाद मुझे डिविडेंड मिला था से 600 रुपए, ठीक है। तो मैं जानना चाहती हूँ कि मेरी रिटर्न कितनी है। तो ऑब्वियसली जब आप रिटर्न कंपेयर करोगे तो आप ये देखोगे मेरे आज की प्राइस 2,500 है, तो 2,500 माइनस जिस प्राइस से मैंने परचेज किया था विच वाज 1,000, तो 1,500 हो गया, प्लस मेरे को डिविडेंड मिला है 600, सो आपकी क्या होगी? 2,100 डिवाइडेड बाय 1,000। तो आपकी कितनी रिटर्न हो गई? कैन एनीवन टेल मी? 210% की रिटर्न हुई है। हाउ? क्योंकि आपने 1,000 रुपए पे खरीदा था, पर आज जब आप अपनी रिटर्न मेजर कर रहे हैं, आपकी प्राइस क्या है शेयर की? 2,500 रुपए। सो दिस इज नॉट द बुक वैल्यू, इट इज द वैल्यू at which you purchase that particular share. Got it?
Yeah,
आपने
got it.
किस वैल्यू पे परचेज? Got it? Okay. गाइज, हम बात कर रहे थे कि जिस तरह हमने इतने सारे बेनिफिट्स, इतने सारे यूजर्स, इतने सारे टाइप ऑफ रेशियोज, हर रेशियो की रेलेवेंस बात करी। कोई मुझे बता सकता है कि किस रेशियो की एक रेशियो कि व्हाट आर द ड्रॉबैक्स? आपको लगता है कि रेशियो एनालिसिस में कोई ड्रॉबैक्स होते हैं, कोई लिमिटेशंस होती हैं? एनीवन? Anyone, guys? Hello? Guys, are you there? So ratios में एक सबसे important limitation ये होती है कि like if accounting policies are changed, it can affect the ratio part. Yes, he's right. बहुत सारे assumptions जब companies में different होती हैं, तो वो ratios को affect करती हैं. Aditya is absolutely right. Then I'll give you
No, but
another
it's not
example.
future.
मैंने आपको
It is not future.
मैंने आपको उस दिन बोला था मैंने आपको उस दिन बोला था कि जब हम सीजनैलिटी की बात करते हैं, अब आप एक रेशियो की एक कंपनी जो एसीज मैन्युफैक्चर करती है, अगर आप उसका समर और विंटर का रेशियो कंपेयर करोगे और ये बोलोगे कि उसने विंटर में बहुत गंदा परफॉर्म किया उस कंपनी ने, तो दैट विल बी अ वेरी स्टूपिड कंपैरिजन, राइट? सो effective seasonality is a very important aspect that needs to be considered in ratio analysis कि जब आप दो चीजों के बीच में रेशियो कंपेयर कर रहे हो, तो आप there should be similar assumptions, there should be similar seasonality, there should be basically in order to draw comparison there should not be variations कि आपने different seasons या different industries के बीच में compare कर लिया. आपने बोला कि say manufacturing industry is making so much profit, a trading industry is making so much profit, they are not comparable. Then of course like Aditya said, अगर different accounting policies follow होती हैं, different accounting practices follow होती हैं, different assumptions होती हैं या different durations होती हैं, आप एक 6 महीने के रेशियो को एक साल के रेशियो में कंपेयर नहीं कर सकते हैं, right? So frankly I'm not saying ratio analysis is bad, it is very important. आप किसी भी एक absolute number से कुछ नहीं समझ सकते हैं, but you need to understand कि जब भी आप benchmarking या ratio analysis कर रहे हैं, तो you have to ensure आप same seasons, same duration, similar assumptions, similar industry, ये सारी चीजों को ध्यान में रख रहे हैं. Otherwise your ratio analysis will not be beneficial for you. All right. Now, guys, I have a lot of questions for you. If you guys want to take a quick 5 minutes break and then I'm going to make you do those questions, तो आप ले लो. I'll request you to just go through the formulas हमने जो पिछले 2 sessions में भी करे थे, क्योंकि आज के तो concepts आपको फिर भी याद होंगे, but पिछले 2 sessions का एक बार just go through it in 5-7 minutes and then we'll start with questions. So I'll give you 9:40 पे let's start with questions. Okay, guys, Sahil is saying he's done. So, how much time do you guys want? Another 5 minutes and then let's discuss. Akanksha, are you done or you need more time? Okay. 9:50, guys, let's start discussing. Guys, should we start discussing?
Yes, ma'am.
So, ratio analysis establishes logical relationship between different line items of P&L and balance sheet. Is that true or false?
True.
Anyone? Yes, that is true. During the financial year, XYZ purchased furniture and fixtures for on a long-term deferred basis. Does this impact the current ratio? Anyone apart from Sahil? Megha?
Yeah, this will remain constant.
Yes, that's right. I hope nobody has any confusion. Any confusion, guys? Since it's a current ratio, you will not take into account the furniture and fixtures, which are your long-term assets, and you will not take your long-term deferred payment because that's not a current liability. Sorry, I missed this question. Working capital has deteriorated over a period of 2 years. What is the reason? Anyone?
B.
Debtor collection period has increased.
That's correct. Can anyone tell me net sales are 15 lakhs, sales return is 26,370, COGS is 1233,470. What is the gross profit?
A.
19.80.
17.8.
I also don't know, guys. Let me calculate it. Yes, it is 17.8%. Anybody has any other answer that they've got? Guys, I hope you have not taken sales return because we are already given net sales. Guys, okay. Can anyone tell me what is the current ratio and what is the quick ratio? Anyone? What is your current ratio? What is your quick ratio? Anyone? Who's going to answer this? Akshay, can you tell me what is the current ratio and what is the quick ratio? Not sure if Akshay can hear me. Aditya, can you tell me what is the current ratio and what is the quick ratio?
I'm not solved, just solving, just a minute.
Ma'am, it's D.
This we
Okay.
have not solved.
Okay, no problem. You guys solve it, then we'll discuss it.
Can you please show the screen properly? It's not visible clearly.
It's not visible. Is it visible now?
Ma'am, current ratio is 2.23.
Okay. And what is the quick ratio?
Wait a minute.
$1.66.
Okay, so you are saying it's the first option. Let me just calculate it. It will be 6 lakhs divided by 268,000. That's 2.23 or 2.24 also you can say. Let me see what is the quick ratio. It is 6 lakh.
1.66.
Yes. So it is 2.24 and one is 1.66 is to 1. Any confusions? Anybody has any confusions? Guys? Okay. So guys, I have another set of questions to do for you, approximately 20 questions more, but it's already 9:55. What we'll do is I'm going to first make you do a lot of questions tomorrow. Once we start, I request you guys to go through the formulas, please, as we'll do more comprehensive questions
Or you
tomorrow.
can mail us questions and then we'll do it at home.
I can
mail us
send
the
you some
question and-
questions, but it's better that we do them in class together so that I can real time ask what are the issues, Sahil. So tomorrow, I just want you guys to do one thing before coming to the class, that just go through the formulas once. We'll do the questions and then we'll also proceed towards consolidation chapter. Okay. So thank you guys. I hope today I took into regard your feedback and I was not very fast. If you feel I was still fast, you guys can let me know. I'll try to go even more slow tomorrow. I am also actually limited by time and I also actually have to cover many things, which is why I increase my speed sometimes. Is there any other feedback that you guys want to give me? Thanks, Megha. Is there anything else that you feel I am going wrong in and I can improvise? Okay, great. So guys, let's meet tomorrow at at 8 p.m. See you, take care, and we'll catch up again tomorrow. Bye guys.